Come on, please. Yes!
You heard that first.
Did this actually say Melbourne? And then you made yourself
sold the
favourites.
bag.
I've never been more happy about being right about something.
I make plenty of miscounts. There's some sort of hatred towards the man.
666, you know that, man. Never
Real
go the early
man.
crow.
The real
Darts down
darts,
under, please.
surely.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode number 64 of the 9 Dar Podcast, your one-stop shop for talking tungsten. On today's episode, the Lukes redeemed themselves from 12 months ago by winning England's 6th World Cup of Darts. There's plenty of debate on ways to improve the tournament as well, and we'll be getting into those. And Vessel Nijman keeps winning on the Pro Tour, and Rob Cross has pretty much sealed a spot at the World Match Play as well. My name is Lorenz DeMore Hayes. As usual, every week, I'm joined by Josh Dehaney. I'll join you first. Josh, how are you, Josh?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm all right, but we have a guest
Yes.
this week. Shane has come in and joined Josh and I on the podcast. Good afternoon, Shane. It's great that you can be here, and anyone's welcome, by the way, into the Holmes Glen studios.
Very good friend of mine. He's got some very good talking points this afternoon, so stay tuned.
Yes, we've got a big show, a World Cup of Darts.
Sure do.
Has been concluded. I thought it was a good tournament.
Very good.
There was a few, ups and downs. I think. I thought the Saturday or the second day was probably a bit weaker, especially that afternoon session. There was a bit of dross thrown in between us, but overall a fun tournament. It probably lacked a bit of go and price. A bit of go and price would have added a bit of extra something for Team Wales in particular. But other than that, I thought it was an interesting tournament, and the winners didn't have it necessarily all their own way in the first couple of matches in particular.
No,
as well.
true. Good point. Yeah, there was lots of storylines, which is good. We'll get to some of the lower nations who had a few victories, which is nice. But overall, it was solid. It was really good. Obviously, it's one of the marquee events and the unique doubles format, which is always nice because that's the only event we get in the year.
Yeah, and it's an interesting spot off the back of a Premier League where we're seeing the same guys over and over again. We're crying out for something different. We get perhaps the most different event we've got with Pairs 501 out as well.
Correct.
Last week in the Darts Archive, we threw in perhaps the most famous World Cup final of all time when went to a sudden death deciding leg. And geez, there were some nervy darts thrown in. There's a few nervy darts thrown by some players up on the stage. These four are all pretty good.
Yep.
Phil Taylor, Adrian Lewis, Simon Whitlock, Paul Nicholson. Taylor, Whitlock, Nicholson all missed 2 darts to win this respective sudden death leg when it got there, and Adrian Lewis, who was probably the most nervous man up there, was the one who actually won it. I love Taylor's reaction at the end of this. He's got a mix of we got away with that one, and I was kind of wishing he missed, and then the next guy missed, so I could hit the winning double, and it could be more about me. He looked the least stressed up there, which when you won, it was 15 world titles at this particular point. He'd won pretty much everything else, so it wasn't quite like the highlight of the career like it might have been for someone like Paul Nicholson or Simon Whitlock.
Yeah.
That was a great match, over 8.8 million views on YouTube as well now, so it's one of the most rewatched darts moments ever was that in the highlights of that World Cup final from 2012. We had many great moments from this week's World Cup of Darts, and no surprise, Josh has thrown in his man's Rockies 144. I mean, the Latvians were excellent this tournament.
Got to say.
Yeah, I know, and it was still enough for them to get through anyway, despite the loss to Trinidad, but they made it to a last 8. Rasma held up the team very well. Maldaraz plays at a level I've never seen him play before. This was extraordinary. And yeah, exactly. It took him a little while, but he got into the tournament pretty well. And him having Rasma throw second was probably a little bit of an interesting and sort of different technique or strategy. A lot of the other teams would have had their more senior players go first. They didn't get over the line against the Northern Irish. Hopefully this video loads at some point. There we go. He'd left double 12 as well.
He did.
They'd missed a couple darts already, and then
Lingoni storms over.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
a good
that. Perfect camera angle as well for that.
Great camera angle
Beautiful.
behind. And yeah, it was needed because Mas Rasmo would have come back for double 12.
Oh yeah, we
there,
would have pinned that first
you would have
start,
thought he would have pinned that and won the match. That 144 had to go, and it did. So great stuff from Josh Rock. And then the Singapore team, always good to see Paul Lim. Everyone knows we're all big Paul Lim fans, I'd imagine. But Pui Wei Tan had one of the best moments of the World Cup of Darts with a 170 finish against the Republic of Ireland.
Wayne Madeline commentary as well, as always. Always good.
We'll sort of break down some of the groups later. This Group D, was actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yep.
In spite of one disappointing moment as well that sort of happened before the tournament started. Luke Littler had a 170
of
finish.
course, he just had to in a World Cup, right?
And yeah, the moment that first start when I remember watching it live, I was ready to reel in the fish.
And he did. Yeah.
I was already halfway celebrating. And geez, what a match that was against Wales, that quarter final with had the one number 1-2-5, and then Nick Kenny's I think 62.
Yeah.
So he was sort of the old one out, but he actually had a part to play in that match as well.
Decently well. Yeah.
We've had Pro Tours as well, a
This was this
170
morning.
from Ross Smith. He was taking on Michael Smith as well.
Yes. Who played actually pretty well, I got to say. You were saying this morning to me. Last week beside her? Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good matchup.
There's some interesting, even from the guys who didn't win the Pro Tours, there was some fascinating results in and amongst all of that, which we'll get to in the latest news. But the biggest story was that England won the World Cup of Darts, redeeming what they had 12 months ago. Exactly. The odds-on favourites won. They had a nice couple of testers early with taking on Spain in that last 16. Good to see Crystal Reyes really play well. And then the Wales game as well was absolutely cracking. And they were 5-2 down.
They were.
And at that point, like if you were the punters really I hope you got on for England there in any in-play betting, because that would have been the best time to put odds on, to put any money on England at that point. They would have drifted out a little bit. But they were always going to find a way back, Littler with the 170 finish. And that really...
That was a huge turning point in the game, because that was, what, 6
That got them to 7-6.
7-6, yeah.
At
that point.
It still went to a last leg. Nick Kenny missed the big number to leave himself a dud ball. And then he made another mistake.
Single numbers, so we know that very well.
He made another mistake after, which no one called. He actually went single 3 when he should have gone single 13 to leave tops. He left 50. So so he made another mistake in amongst all that. It didn't matter because Littler chased around the ball, but he eventually got to double 2.
He did.
And then in the evening session, it was a very strong performance against a Scottish pair that was actually quite exciting to watch. And then beating the Netherlands, obviously, in the final.
10-5.
What were our thoughts on England winning the World Cup?
Well, besides that Wales game, they played pretty well, I've got to say. They were pretty clinical. I thought Lillard was a standout for the most part. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was after they got over the Wales hurdle, I was like, right, surely now this is going to happen. This is what happens when Luke Littler's playing in a tournament where when you get the close one sort of earlier-ish, it was their second game. Once they pass that hurdle, they should be able to. Netherlands put up. It was a good match, the final, even though it didn't end up being like it wasn't an nail biter like last year in terms of going all the way.
No,
but it was still pretty competitive, and the Netherlands still had their chances there at points.
You reckon if Gerwyn Price was in for Wales, they would have won that?
Oh, they would have been. Oh, if I would love to have seen that as a match though.
Me
like
too.
The legs together and it was that. It was that last 4 Premier League finals nights. 4. So to see them together as a doubles pair in a doubles match would have been quite interesting. But then you had the other element of the final, having the top 4 players in the world, also being the top 2 players in their country and playing in a pairs final as well, which was quite interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were both the 2 odds on, so made the final, and
they were most likely
both very good.
To do it. Yeah, exactly. So it would have meant a lot to these guys off the back of the disaster of, well, it wasn't disaster last year. They played well last year. They just played the one team that would have beat them in that match, that German team from last year. 99.26 average for Littler and 98.89 for the tournament for Luke Humphreys. Very similar stats for doubles for these guys. Yeah. Doubling similar. Yeah. Well, we're going to see. And now that they've won one, there's probably a sense they might do this a few years in a row now. Now that they finally got that monkey off the back. I thought we had some quotes here. Obviously, I've won every big title so far this year, but I couldn't have done it without Luke. He's been brilliant.
Which Luke? Him or
he's talking about the other guy. This is Littler quoting. He's talking about Humphreys. We had a lot of doubters, a lot of people that didn't think we could play well together, but we showed we played as a team. And that was a lot of the talking point last year, that perhaps they didn't gel, or perhaps they just sort of went about it the wrong way. But they had
played for themselves in a way. Yeah.
But they had 12 months on to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was the maybe it might not have happened, but it was obviously better than last year at the moment they beat Spain, because they got past that second round. But it would have been a different talking point had Wales got over the line, and maybe if Gerwyn Price was there, maybe they would have got over the line. But that didn't happen. They were able to win that match, and they were able to go on to win the tournament. And again, now that monkey's off the back, we might see this partnership win a few more World Cup of Darts.
I think so.
In the years to come. Littler as well. He's won every title so far this year, all the big titles.
All the big ones.
For the purpose of this, we're counting the World Cup as a major.
Through our argument last year.
So now we've got 2 storylines. One, can he keep doing this? How can he keep winning all of them for an entire season? And can he get that, especially that European Championship, and have won all the big ones within a few years of turning pro?
Pretty much. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's going to have to. Surely somebody.
Yep.
The problem is you would think he'd be the main one. Actually, what makes the World Cup, I think, great as well is there's usually like another guy, like it was Daryl Gurney last year, somebody who would, if this was a singles event, they probably wouldn't have won a big tournament, but we can say that they've now won this major. Now Humphreys has that as well. He's been playing, like so many of these guys, they've been playing so well, but the Littler hurdle is the one that they haven't been able to get over. So when Humphreys gets the opportunity to partner with Littler, it's a great opportunity for him to win another big tournament. Which will do his individual confidence a world of good as well. I mean, he hit the winning double as well on the 888 to check out that 41. So that was a great story.
Well, it wasn't a great story.
And we'll get to, let's go to the group stages now. Let's start with the disaster that was Australia. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting our darts team to be outperformed by our football team or World Cup team. I thought they had a tougher draw than the Aussies in the darts, to be honest. 2 losses.
Bracket here.
It just, and I think, do we have, so we have the individual stats here. They just didn't live up to quite the expectations where we thought they might be getting to. Heta less so in that first game, but Leek looked a little bit nervous. He looked like he probably struggled. We don't have any troubleless visits on that slide there. They didn't hit a single 180.
Both games, actually.
Yeah. So it's a short format. But yeah, when Leek just needed to find even just a 1 treble visit, it just didn't happen. Particularly in that first game where, and now had we flipped that, had we been able to get over the lines against the US, things might have turned out a little bit differently in this group as well.
True. No, well, yeah, fair few 60s, a few wayward darts in the 45s. Like, again, it was just those crucial moments that you just could not find the treble. I'm like, please, this is the one to sort of get some momentum. But yeah, potentially. But also, people got to take into account it's his second big stage event, you know.
It was very novel.
Yeah, very novel to him. There was a bit of pressure on him, but he's just trying to play with freedom. Didn't go his way, but it's the way it is. But disappointing. Yes. Well, you said the main emphasis would be on him to perform and to sort of be the leader, which he was, but it just wasn't.
I said our predictions last week that I thought he was the wild card because a lot of these guys were, if you throw in Leek with this and the North Americans, they were sort of the stalwarts of the affiliate scenes of their local countries, and Heta was the long-time professional player. So he was going to be the wild card that sort of dictated this group. And he still averaged over 100 individually in that first game, but the drop in the second game, combined with Leek's, well, he played about roughly the same slight drop, didn't help either. So the lack of a 180, the lack of really big trebles at big moments didn't help Australia in either of those matches against the USA and Canada. It's our worst result in a World Cup of darts not to get past effectively the first round. So in knockout formats,
average.
We'd always had gone past to the last 16, and in these group stages, we've always come through a group, which hasn't happened this year. Haven't won a game.
Leaky on those doubles in that USA game killed us. I mean, not the emphasis just on him because there was Damo as well had some missed ones, but just at that start when it was so crucial. Again, first of all, you have to start well.
Yeah, like the Americans, their double percentage both.
Yeah.
Both in them.
Yeah.
League missing made the pressure on Heta to must hit the doubles.
Yep.
Didn't hit them. He didn't believe that League would hit them.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah. So, but to be fair, they have played quite well in the days after this.
They have.
So from an individual, which it's a little bit funny, it's like, where was this? But in terms of their confidence for the rest of the year, hopefully this doesn't dent it too much because they would have really looked forward and built this up to be something they really wanted to do. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out for Australia this year.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed next year things go a little bit better.
Did you see Damo's Facebook post, Instagram post, where some of the comments are absolutely disgraceful, seriously, saying that him and Leek shouldn't be there, that Whitlock should be there. Leek was there because he got his tour card in Cuse when he deserves to be there, guys. Like, seriously, get a grip. It was pathetic. I thought. Sorry?
New gen of Australia.
Exactly. You know, you got the sort of older and the youth, you know? I mean, Leek's 27. I think Damo's what? Oh,
Damo turned 32 the day he won that World Series event in 2019. Because he hit double 16 to win that tournament. He hit 32.
What a pull. Wow.
So what would that make him now? Closer to 40.
Okay.
So that's where things stand at Australian darts at the moment.
There you go.
Let's just quickly go through the groups as well. Germany, well, If you'd only ever watched televised darts, you wouldn't have not have known Ricardo Pietrezco's had been really gone through battles because he
Struggling.
looked just like the normal
was
Ricardo
good.
Pietrezco.
He was very good.
And that helped Germany a lot. And Martin Schindler played pretty well as well.
He did.
I'm still not over the fact that Hong Kong didn't win Group B. And
Yeah.
I feel very frustrating that you somehow got that one right because I was all over Hong Kong. And then Hong Kong beat Belgium and what was an upset by the bookies. But anyone could have told you before the match that it was going to happen. And all they needed was like 2 legs against Slovenia. And then they got the 2 legs and then they just completely botched it right at the end with those doubles to get out of the group.
Yep.
So Slovenia won the match, but Belgium won the group. Wales won, which we expected. Republic of Ireland came through. One moment that we could put in as a disappointing moment was the fact that Uganda weren't able to make it to Frankfurt with visa issues, and the Malawi pair wasn't able to either. So Gibraltar came in. Though I will say the Gibraltar pair was very exciting.
Exciting.
And I thought, I saw a lot of comments when the initial an announcement came for these groups that Gibraltar wouldn't be there. People were celebrating, no, Gibraltar. How could you be celebrating that?
Yeah.
That was an extraordinary performance. And the Ireland-Gibraltar match was probably the best match of the group stage. That was a lot of fun.
True.
Poland got through as expected.
Yep.
Sweden did. That South Africa-Mongolia game was one of the worst televised darts games
you
ever.
said average?
They
You said
averaged
this morning.
60, both of them pretty much. We already talked about
That was
Group
a
G.
stinker.
Czechia
Yeah.
got through Group H. Austria as well was another one that
Bit of an
really
upset,
botched
yeah.
it.
Yep.
They were 3-0 up and lost 4-3 to France. Latvia came
You
through
had Italy, right? I'd Latvia.
Group J.
I'm pretty sure.
I
predictions.
think.
I think so. Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago was still a good story. We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
Spain got through Group K. Cristo Reyes, good to see him. When he's on, he's so
He's
good.
good,
to
I'm
watch.
telling you.
And-
He's been so good on the Euro Tour this year.
And like I actually anticipate this one as well with Group L, with not only Norway coming through, but the winner of the group not doing much in the knockout stage, which was probably when they lost 8-0 to Scotland.
Yep.
So that ended up working out quite nicely as well. So these were. We had these on the next slide, all these results as well. So we did see Paul Lim get a win there with that Singapore
nice.
as well. Where was that? There we go. So there was 63.21 to 61.50 for the South Africa Mongolia match.
Absolutely
boy.
thrilling, guys.
There was a lot on that Saturday afternoon, which was just there was a lot of not great stuff. But I think the further we went into Saturday, the more interesting matches we got. Some of the ones at the end were quite exciting with the ones to come through the group. Excuse me. We had that France-Austria match that was more or less their last match. Trinidad and Tobago got a win.
Yes.
Spain got a couple of wins as well to book their ticket as well. And the Finns for a seeded nation were quite disappointing in their one as well. Do we have, where is the, I think we actually put the Trinidad and Tobago a little bit later on. We'll get to the boards and everything else in a second. Where's the, there it is. I actually want to talk about Trinidad and Tobago before we get to anything too disappointing. Because that was a great story. And I remember I watched their first match and went, oh yeah, I can see potential here. Like
there is
the darts,
potential.
they're going in straight. Like they're not really hitting trebles, but they're going in straight. And to get a win, having come all the way there, unfortunately they had just done it just after the fact that they were eliminated from the tournament. But
I know why that score was a bit chopped off anyway.
This is what happens when you try and put anything into canvas. Something goes a bit haywire.
In Facebook, whatever. Anyway, that's what I could find.
And you got to credit Latvia for doing what they did in the rest of the tournament.
That's true.
After this.
So what a chance here for a little bit of World Cup history for Trinidad and Tobago and for James Walkley. Trinidad and Tobago
So 56 here, 16 then for tops.
Was last done hand, wasn't it? It was a bit of a fly the first
one, but bang.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's weird when you think about it. They lost to Trinidad and Tobago and somehow nearly got over the line against against the defending champions, getting into a semi-final. Latvia, that was the furthest they've ever gone at a World Cup of Darts as well, getting to a quarter-final.
There you go.
So there were some great stories out of their particular group. So those are the things that went well. There were some people who had a bit of a disappointing weekend, even though they weren't playing.
Yeah.
This Windmill BladeX.
Jeez,
Every time this thing comes up, I keep going back to when I first talked about it on the podcast. I kept calling it the Blade 6, which was the old board.
Yep.
And I'm like, I screwed that up early at the time. So
That's
this is
right.
the Blade X, which is the new board that they've signed for this year. The most advanced dartboard in the world, apparently. Martin Schindler wants to throw it in the bin.
Engineered for elite performance, apparently. Yes, we have. Apparently it's like, was it $300 or something?
Yeah, it's a bit more on the expensive side. Here is
Gary had some words to say. Oh,
Gary
this is
Anderson's always
brilliant.
great in press conferences, so here he is. Yes,
It's incredible.
Cameron Menzies is there's like, I'm not here.
Having a chuckle. Yeah.
If I'm getting in trouble for this, it's not fair. I'm not saying anything.
No.
It's pretty. It's an interesting statement to say that nobody on the circuit's happy. Yeah, Martin Schindler agreed. Windmill would lead us to believe that they don't agree.
Of course.
So they said their feedback from other players, which is an interesting turn of phrase, that the BladeX has been received positively. Our performance data says there's less rejected darts and yeah, we remain committed. La la la, and lots of comments there.
Jargon.
So
there's some comments that I found off the page. So
yeah.
We got positive feedback from other players. Yeah, okay, there's 50% chance from a bounce out when you bullseye. Who doesn't love that? 150-pound double, by the way. Share the statistics and whoever. This is the big one. Whoever watches darts regularly will know, and we definitely know Pro Tours and.
That's actually whoever watches darts regularly will know. So that's actually an interesting comment, and that brings me all to this week's Volcano. And I'm going at some weeks I'm only targeting a few people. This week I'm targeting everybody in darts. You're all involved in this week's Volcano. You're all in my wrath. Well, only if you're complaining about it. So just to go back. So we've got Windmill saying we have data, and we have people saying the data is rubbish. Well, somebody's proved to me something. Somebody needs to actually. You can just say, well, the board is bad. I feel like everything I've heard about this Windmill BladeX is just the board is bad. End of story. And I'm not really getting any meat on the bone. Like you have to. Do you have the information to back it up? Do you have the evidence? I know things like the darts landing the board is a bit more anecdotal, and you can't really. It's a bit more difficult to track that. And you can show evidence of things, but I feel like nobody's actually given me any answer as to one, is this true, and also I've got no idea. And this is more my own ignorance than anything else. I've got no idea how this stuff works. Like, why would this be the case? What is it about this board that has got it more difficulties in terms of the way? Is it something to do with the manufacturing? Is it just it's more bad luck? Is that sort of thing? Someone please explain to me in ways I can understand. That's all I'm asking for. I want statistics. If you think the board's great, I want them. If the board isn't great, I want them. You can't just be, we think the board's great or we think the board's bad. Okay, sure, fine. You've got to provide some evidence for the thing. I'm getting no evidence, and I do not understand any of this saga. And I don't really like talking about this stuff because I want to build the conversation around the numbers and the data we have. And Wimar isn't releasing any, other people aren't releasing any, so I don't understand where we're going here. And though sometimes I do feel like, so Martin Schindler posted that comment. He had one in, was it the last leg of that match, or was it the one before where he threw it a treble 17?
You were saying that
I think
earlier.
it was the last leg, and it bounced out, and then he hit it the second time. And I will say, like, if the second night you throw was like the third dart, you wouldn't have had the issue. If you put it in the corner, you run the risk of it taking a little bit of the wire. So if you'd thrown it better, Martin, you wouldn't have been in the trouble in the first place. And this is actually one of the great things about darts is we don't have all this controversy and interpretation over was that in, was it not? Like it's very easy. You can reduce almost all bounce outs by removing the wire. The problem is how much of it needs to be touching for it to actually count as part of the segment or not. We don't want that either. I don't want that either. I have enough sports I follow where that's the case every week. Every game, it seems like we're debating these sort of
AFL.
things. So yeah, exactly. So
it's enough there.
So we need wires on a dartboard. It's part of the unique aspect of the game that we don't have these debates about whether it was in or not, whether that counts or not. If it's in, it's in. If it's not, it's not. If it bounces out, too bad. So I just want people to get to. I just don't want that, well, we think it's great, we think it's bad. I want actual numbers and be able to dissect that and compare it to previous boards so we can actually make an objective reading on the situation of whether the BladeX is better than any other previous editions or other boards out there from other companies like Mission or Target or whatever. I feel like I'm not getting any of that, and it's driving me insane because I don't understand any of this stuff, and I don't know where to start with this.
What evidence could we collate? what could
Well,
you know-
evidently, Wimmer have some data because they surely wouldn't put out. So feedback from other players has been quite positive, and the PDC's official statistics partner regarding rejected darts. That's also who is the PDC's official partner regarding rejected darts? Is that
it's so vague.
Is that Dart Connect? That's not really giving me much of anything. Yeah, exactly. It's not
What
Master
about
Schindler.
Matt Porter? How about him? Has he got a say in all this? You know?
I've got. I'm not. Has my partner been reached out for comment? He probably has. He's not the. He shouldn't be the official statistics partner. It should be against an actual proper organization focusing on these things. So I'm very confused by all of this. I can sense. I agree that there's something that seems a little bit fishy in here, and these boards probably aren't up to the standard that they maybe were advertised as. But I want that backed up by raw data and not just my personal opinion is that the boards are great. Or like anecdotal evidence is fine, but I want something alongside that. I want it to be, here's the stats and here are examples of it, not here are examples of it, therefore my opinion is right. Like I want them to coexist and not just have something out on its own.
Nah, very true. Don't think so. I mean, just evidence. We need something, I think numbers is the most important thing, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, Schindler is a bit of evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and like your personal opinion is fine. Like anecdotal things is fine. If we don't record this conversation, but I remember certain parts of it, that's evidence that the conversation happened. But you want something a bit more substantial to that.
100%.
In these sort of situations. So that's my frustration this week. Like I don't understand, and I want something a little bit more than board is bad. End of story. Like no, I've got plenty more to this story. I want to know like. Well, can you provide more evidence for that? So anyway, that's this week's Volcano Zone.
Yeah.
While we're getting hot and bothered, the great debate this week. William O'Connor was. I do enjoy players getting a little bit feisty and saying interesting things in the media.
That's actually good for the sport because because if it's just boring and saying, oh, it's all good and well, like, no, you want conflict of opinion. You know?
and you want topics for the 9 Dart podcast. That's
Absolutely,
what you really want.
The great
so
debate,
this week's, should the top 4 get a bye? And I've actually got a few other points on how we make the World Cup of Darts better as well. What do we think of William O'Connor's opinion? Let me read one. I think everyone in the World Cup should be in the same draw. Yes, no, maybe. What are we thinking?
Well, we said this morning, you reckon those top 4 seeds should get rewarded, those top 4 nations, you know?
The disadvantage having them in the second round because they're not set straight away. While other nations have played 2 games. Like we saw against the Wales game, England kind of finding their feet early on in the stages. But once they went to the semis, they were set and completely scolded away. So I think it's a bit of a disadvantage coming in later and against teams who already played. So will they kind of maybe making it harder for themselves?
True.
Quite possibly. This was a sort of interesting World Cup to say this because the top 4 seeds all got through to the semi-finals, but that hadn't happened in the previous ones. And in fact, the 3rd seed had lost every year going into this.
Oh, there you go.
2 lost like deciders with the Wales games and the Latvia game.
Yeah.
Josh Rock put up some magic.
He did.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't have ended up with that. If Nick Kenny hits the single limp ball and Rock Wise, the double 12, and Mana steps up and hits it, then we wouldn't have that. So we actually got quite close to that, but it didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
There are examples of this happening in other sports. One that came to mind for me was the old T20 Cricket World Cup format when they had the 16 teams and they had 8 groups, and then the winner and runner-up would join, and they joined them in the Super 12 stage.
Okay.
If you remember that. Now they don't do that anymore. They do 5 groups. 4 groups of 5, excuse me, and then the top 2 go through to the Super 8 stage. So that's sort of the evolution that we might see with the World Cup, where the ideal format for me is still 16 groups of 3. I think it would be better for the tournament and better for the top 4 seeds to have those other guys in. I will say that having watched South Africa and Mongolia average a little bit over 60, do we really want to invite 8 more nations that are lesser quality than that, who otherwise wouldn't have got in to compete as well? So it might be something for a few years down the line. I just worry that if we rushed in too quickly, we might get even more really proper, frustrating matches of darts to watch over a few days. But we could really build it as like a 5-day tournament where you got to win a couple of group matches. Maybe increase them to a 1st to 5 or 1st to 6 race as well, and then into the knockout stages as well. You also, if you did that, you wouldn't also need to do the random draw element as well that you usually have at the moment, which is what what has ended up with the 3 seeds sometimes having horrible second round draws. They've always had horrible second round draws. Just
Is what it is.
ended up by who they've ended up drawing against and having the number 1 seed run into a hot Germany team last year when they were the overwhelming favourites for the tournament.
They were.
So. So there's pros and cons to all of this. It would be great, and I think it would be better for the tournament. I just worry about the quality of darts a little bit, to be honest.
Mongolia versus England.
Oh.
That's the average, like,
Classic.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Like, would them playing a Mongolia or South Africa playing like that actually drag the English guys down?
True.
Which is what we see so
Actually,
often.
Make them worse.
Yeah,
Or
it might make
psychologically as
Yeah.
well, saying, "Oh, we're going to win easy, so may as well just I don't really care."
Yeah, exactly.
But you make a really good point. Does it actually play an advantage or disadvantage to them? Because if you go straight in, are you making it harder for yourself to get going, or because obviously you don't play for 2 days? Because the other nations have had what 2 days? So 2 games.
I will
at
say
least.
the top
Yeah.
4 seeds.
Well, not at least
These are
2
some of the
games.
best players in the world, so they
Of course.
definitely have the stage experience.
Sure,
But some of them
no
might
doubt.
be playing as a pair for the first time.
The rhythm in the pairing is much different. Throwing every 4th visit.
Yeah,
It's hard.
That's
Yeah,
only once a year.
yeah. So yeah,
it
that's
is true. It is true.
I think that's actually part of the reason going back to Australia why Adam Lake might have struggled a little bit. Just he wasn't in any sort of. It's usually when you're playing a singles match, you spend half your time throwing and half your time watching the other guy throw. But here you're throwing 25% of the time, and 75% of the time you're watching other people
watching.
throw. So or you have to
Doing whatever you do.
whatever routine you've got
Yep.
there. So so that has a different complexion as well, which is which to your point, Shane. So it's interesting. Should they get a bye? In theory, I think it would make it for a better tournament and a better tournament structure. We can make it a longer and better tournament. The quality of darts might drop a little bit.
Yeah.
And we could also see, like I said in the last week's show, that I thought a lot of the groups would come down to whoever won that first match. And that might be even more true if we have a group with like England, the USA, and Mongolia, right? You might have even more, like, especially if we now move those second and third matches like the Grand Slam to like later in the week, like on a Friday. We're like, well, this Friday match, we all know how that one's going to go.
Yeah.
So that might not make it as good. That being said, they did move the World Championship. They did increase the World Championship at the right time, so maybe they can sort of sense the timing there. So that's something. I will say, out of the World Cup, a few other points I wanted to mention. I like the fact that nations walked on to the same walk-on song pretty much
that's nice.
the whole way through. So England had the boys are back in town. I think the leader of that band though is Irish, which is interesting, or the lead singer. But anyway, other than
Good
that,
song. Good song.
it
That's all that
works.
matters.
It's a
Yeah,
former
James
James
Wade,
Wade song.
yeah.
So
Well done.
so it was a little bit jarring other than that. But otherwise, I thought it was a good choice for them. I'm not sure if they chose it or if somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That walk on of
O'Connor in the Premier
like
League.
years ago. Oh man, I can watch that back 20 times.
Yeah. So
So
that
good.
works for Ireland. So I like that of it. I still don't like the doubles walk-ons. I prefer what they did from the knockout stage onwards.
Japan's walkout with Sakai.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well,
Love it.
he's a great character. It was good to see him back on a
Absolutely.
big stage as well.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes. So those were some positives as well that I liked out of the event. Swissville was good as MC as well, and
Yep. Did a good job.
Lou Dog's done well the last few weeks as well. So we've got 2 proper really good MCs at the moment.
Yep.
After we were a little bit worried after James McDonald said goodbye, but I think we're in good hands at the moment, both in the UK and Europe and the rest of the world.
James McDonald.
James McDonald. Not McDonald. James McDonald.
I was waiting. I'm like, hang on.
Oh,
It's all right.
McDonald's.
the Royal Ascot is on this week, and J Mac is riding in quite a few. So,
Excuses. I'm kidding.
yeah,
The horse that you backed, Josh.
I was a bit disappointed by overpass ran a good third in the King Charles III. Sorry. Right. So no. So the MC's been good. World Cup was a good tournament. There's still a few elements. I still think as well for a tournament that's about the growth of darts. I'm not sure putting it on in Germany, who have every other tournament, is necessarily the best one. Yeah, well, that's the thing.
John Canarino, mate.
Yeah, take it on that one.
Can't wait for that.
The US could be a good option. I wouldn't want to do a
Yeah.
Eurovision where you take it around like to the
No.
defending champion, because then England and the Netherlands will probably just be pinging it back and forth, I sense.
Previous year. Each year.
So yeah, it is interesting. A US would be good, or even just a different European nation, a place like Belgium or Austria.
US will be the FIFA World Cup right
Well, yeah. Well, that's the
For
other
this
thing.
year, yeah,
so for
at
this year, it
least.
wouldn't be good,
Yeah.
but you'd be able to plan ahead, and really know in advance what might clash
That's
with
true.
it. Yeah, exactly. So
Well, because I found in the first couple of days, the crowd in the tiered setting was like non-existent.
Yeah,
it
there
was all
wasn't-
just a table thing, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
Even though you're seeing all these new and upcoming nations, you want to have a
yeah, that
a
was
big
the other thing I was going to
crowd.
say. It doesn't feel like they absolutely pack it out. So
exactly
so
as they should. I mean,
I still haven't got to the
They
fact
actually
that I called
should,
him
yeah.
James McDonald fair income.
Would you buy a ticket to South Africa, Mongolia?
Well, not.
standalone game.
Yeah, it's not as a standalone game, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, that Saturday afternoon, you probably would have been like, oh, well, that probably didn't quite meet the mark of what I was hoping for. But the other sections were all pretty good as well. So
True.
that's the World Cup of Darts.
For another year.
Plenty big talking points out of it. Mickey Mantle also actually played quite well. And
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
quite
decent.
vocal as well, given the fact that
Yeah.
he was playing for a new country for the first time, and there was that element as well.
The Irish, 9, both won 80s.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. We didn't get a 9 data as well.
Unfortunately not.
Every time we get to this World Cup, I'm thinking now is
When
surely
was
the
the
time.
last 9 data we had in a World Cup? Or have we
It
had
hasn't
one?
happened.
Oh,
Hasn't
we haven't
happened.
had one. No.
We haven't
good
had one
point.
in any sort of pairs event.
No, good
I would
point.
like to see a few more pairs
We
darts.
nearly had one at Modus when
Yes.
someone went for 3 balls and missed on the third one.
Yeah, so
we showed it on here a while ago.
Simon Whitlock had that a couple of opportunities
Yeah.
at various times as well. But it hasn't happened at a World Cup of Darts just yet. You would think that
Yeah,
they're
some
you would think
point.
I'd proper top seeds. How cool would it be, by the way? Paul Lim was the first man to hit a
Oh.
9 data at the World Championship and in a pairs event. Like, that would be extraordinary.
Wow.
You never know. He'll be back again.
He'll be playing to 90, won't he?
Yeah. No, he won't. He'll be. He's still throwing. He's still
Oh,
going to
just
be
a
there.
nice lesson. He still loves the game, you know? Like, just seeing him walk on and just love what he does. It's great. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I don't know what his numbers were, but I'd have to look, but decent enough.
Yeah. I thought he played reasonably well.
Yeah.
And I thought his partner supported him as well. Just disappointing that they weren't able to get through the group. Would have been so amazing.
That'd been great.
I was gonna say one other thing. I do feel like though for some of these countries we don't see the best pairings out of these. So I wonder if that 2-year ranking system perhaps isn't the best way to decide the pairings for a World Cup of Darts, because we had like
Example?
well, the Belgium was the big one,
Belgium
even though
pair.
they got
That
through
was
their group.
Crazy.
De Decker and Vandenberg aren't in the greatest form. You had someone like Kip Hybrex who's playing extraordinary.
I
Did-
thought
that
it was
wasn't
pretty
too
good,
bad.
actually, across the weekend.
Yeah. And Vandenberg
He
was
was
a bit
so
all
hot
over
and
the
cold,
place.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was. Waymarder was doing some of those games, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Vandenberg's gone," and then he'd hit a big visit. By the way, Waymarder had an interesting World Cup. Every time he tried to predict something, it wouldn't happen, and it was just so
opposite.
weird. Yeah, exactly. So that was the other thing I was going to suggest: a potential World Cup adjustment. Maybe it's better to sort of do a sort of mini World Cup race, so sort of from the end of
yeah.
May
Okay.
this year to the end of May next year, and the best 2 from that, from all ranking events, gets in instead. Or
interesting, yeah.
Obviously with the Aussies, like Whitlock could have been there.
the tour card holders do take place. There probably are times though. Jules Van Dongen was the big one last year when he was going through the Dartitis thing, playing for the USA. It
Yes.
was like that
Yep.
probably wasn't the best pairing either.
No.
So deferring to the tour card holders is usually pretty good.
Yep.
But sometimes it doesn't. That's another example of maybe we don't get the best pairing out of it as well.
True. Good point.
Yeah, so that was the World Cup of Darts. What a tournament it was. Look forward to it
Yeah.
next year.
Happened all so quickly, huh?
Yeah, I know. We got up to it, and then it's 4 days, and then it's over.
Yeah, it's sad.
Well, that's
Well, I mean, it's hard because you have to cram all these games in, especially when it's a first to 4 contest in those group stage games. It'd be nice if it was first to 5, first to 6, but again, it's just the timing of, the
I'd love an extra day
arenas
or
and
even
all.
an extra
Yeah.
session.
Well, it was Friday through to Sunday, right? Or Monday?
Thursday night
sorry.
to Sunday night
Yeah, good point. So, what could you do? Maybe start it.
on a Wednesday
It's hard.
afternoon, maybe. But
I mean, everyone's at work then, you know.
yeah, exactly.
So
That's
it's
the
hard.
problem.
2 games in the group's a bit short, like the
Yeah, it's annoying.
first one.
True.
I actually don't mind the fact that you have groups of 3, because that way you never end up getting a dead rubber with the way the loser of the match then has to play the second
Yeah,
match.
true,
So
true.
in groups of 4, we sometimes see that, like at the Grand Slam, where we have effectively dead rubbers, or win one leg and it effectively becomes a dead rubber. So the fact that you have groups
Yeah,
of
true.
3 means there's always something to play for in that last match, even if it isn't what we really want, which is just a straight shootout. Sometimes it's a little bit
Yeah.
like, well, if they win 2 legs, if it's 4-2 or better to this team, they win. If it's 4-1, it's here. But if it ends up 4-3 specifically, neither of these teams go through.
Oh, yeah.
So,
True.
so sometimes it gets confusing there, but you don't get a dead rubber at the end of groups of 3, which is always nice.
Good point.
The 2 games for the countries that sure you wait a whole year.
Yeah.
Just play the 2 games. Not enough experience going on for the next year.
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you build that experience.
If you had 2
especially
games over
for,
longer
you know,
formats, it might not be as bad. It wasn't as bad as the old format where you may only play 1 game and then be sent home in the
True.
knockout format.
Yeah,
so, so it's an improvement on the old formats as well.
Just do the Aussies a bit more.
Yeah. Well, they'll be back next year.
Oh,
no
right,
doubt.
so they'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Pressure on that first game,
Absolutely. Because if you lose that first game,
must win.
yeah. Oh, if you lose, you're under pressure, right? But it was only 4-3. But again, they just played horrible against Canada.
Yeah, Belgium was the one who the Belgium. That's probably the example of what you need to get through. You need a bit of luck. You need to beat
Always need a
a
bit of luck on your
team, and then
side.
you need the team you just beat to beat the
To
team you
lose
lost
or
to.
whatever.
So it doesn't bode.
Unseeded nation, new pairing. Hard to happen.
It is.
Does happen.
Yeah. Right,
Alright,
let's
let's move
move on. We'll do some more JDC stuff this week, and more going on next week. Mitchell Laurie, he just keeps winning. He's going to be one who we're going to see in a Scottish pair at some point, I think.
Oh, yeah, God,
For as
yeah.
good as Cameron Menzies and Gary Anderson were, and they gelled really well.
I had question marks over
surprisingly well.
Menzies, and I eat my words. I have humble pie today. They were really good. Really good to their credit.
Yeah, they were.
Probably would have done better than Peter, right? You reckon?
I reckon.
100%, yeah.
Yes, good point. That's a good
Like,
take.
it's just there actually isn't a lot of Scottish tour card holders at the moment. It's only about 7, I think. And
Yeah.
Peter Wright's like comfortably 3rd, and then it's a long gap to it's not a huge gap, but it's a bit of a gap until guys like Alan Suter.
Yeah.
So
next.
No, Johnny Henderson.
Oh, the Highlander, mate.
well, a
bring it
former
back.
World Cup winner, of course.
That's
so-
walk on, if you know what I mean. The bagpipes. Oh, sheesh, man.
So we might see a few more years of Anderson Menzies before
think so.
maybe Laurie steps up onto the scene as well. So
With Anderson, will Anderson stick around again?
well,
We hope so. We hope so.
Gary's
'cause
going to be
he's
interesting.
damn
He's
good.
not gonna do a Van Barneveld or a Taylor sort of farewell tour. He's just going to sort of keep playing, and then he's not going to show up for things. And
Over time,
if
he'll play less and less events. Yeah.
The Premier League.
he won't play in the
It'd been
Premier League.
so good if we had him in the Premier League.
If he's in the Premier League, they've either changed the format so he doesn't have to play every week, or he's been given a lot of money to,
Yes,
to do
true.
one more Premier League campaign.
Come on. If I pay more.
Just having like the Scottish week.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the old Challenger formats
We've talked at length about, different formats. You had a 10-pin bowling format as a potential
for finals night.
finals night. Yeah.
Van Veen pulled out, have him fill in.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it. But I sense, as good as it will be, I kind of feel like the Scottish Premier League nights, Gary Anderson might be as far away from the venue as anyone could possibly be.
Imagine he wins the night.
That'd be amazing. And then he gets points for it, and then someone else drops out, and then he wins another night, and all of a sudden, hang on, if a few more dropouts, he might actually make finals night. What? No. So for Anderson, it'll be sort of he'll just keep doing it for as long as he can stay. At the end, he'll probably never say a formal goodbye unless he wins the 3rd world title and ends it on the spot.
Sure.
So that's that. But maybe we'll see Mitchell Laurie and Gary Anderson play each other, which would be quite an extraordinary sight, the young and the old.
He extended his winning run to 36 matches on the Advanced Tour. Crazy stuff. Yeah, he won all of events 17 to 20 across the weekend. So now he's had 12 titles for the year. Remarkable stuff.
I think the plan for him is, and I think he said this, to go to Q School at the start of next year. That would be a lot of fun to watch him, and he might be one that really burst onto the scene, and he might be the one more than anybody else who might be able to challenge Littler, and he's not even a professional dart player at the moment.
Ooh. Wow, that's juicy.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Vessel Nijman going to the Pro Tour.
Sixth Pro Tour?
Oh, I've lost
Sixth or
track,
seventh, I'm
but
not sure.
It's
Yeah.
one of those.
Him being the Dutch combo in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yes, even as soon as next year, it might be
Could
Van
be.
Veen and Nijman, and get me excited about Van Veen and Nijman as a pairing. He won Players Championship 21. There really isn't no last leg deciders in here, so he's ended up winning it all fairly comfortably. And
Another name.
yes, he's another one for those Dutch players up and coming.
Bo Greaves made a semi. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Ryan Searle made a final.
So a few talking
numbers.
points out of this. So Nijman taking a Players Championship 21. Bo Greaves making a semi-final. Rob Cross won Players Championship 22, and now he's all of a sudden it went from he's probably not going to make the world match play to he'll be at the world match play. So Great stuff for Voltage. Again, no real last leg deciders in there at all. And Stephen Bunting, he had some fantastic performances at the Pro Tours, and there is a Euro Tour this week, and I fancy that he might play really well at the Slovak Darts Open coming up in Bratislava this week. It's an insane thing. It's an insane thing for people like Bunting and Humphreys in particular for mine. If they don't average like 110, they're probably going to get beat. But people like Noppin and Wade can average like 85 and still win with a breaker throw. It's like, this is mad.
Crazy.
But yeah, you're probably right. That's probably about right for Paul Stephen. And only 3 legs and a best of 13, which is crazy. Yeah, just it's the only if when he sharpens that up, he's still a Premier League player, top 10 player. Yeah,
that's true. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's the natural thing for him. So Cross and Nijman picking up Pro Tour titles. From the Australian perspectives, we like to dive into the Australian results.
Can I finally change that picture of Leek to that Motus photo, or are we leaving it there for the sake of nostalgia?
Well, if you're going to change that, you might as well change Heta's photo to something a bit less scary.
Might do that next week. But very good for the Aussies.
That's up to you. I'll leave that slide to you.
Across the last 2 days. Wow. Leeky and Damon made both top 32s yesterday. Yeah, some really good stuff from both.
And we're just seeing a little bit more of them on streaming boards as well.
It's good.
I watched Leek on the streaming board in his first round and Heta last night as well. So we are seeing them a bit more regularly as well on streaming boards.
PDC finally showing some respect to peak Leek. Yeah, against Gian van Veen, 6'2",
if they averaged
average.
102 and 98 in those matches against the USA and Canada, they would have walked into the group stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Players Championship 21, and then it got even more crazy in Players Championship 22. So Leeks ended up playing Van Veen in back-to-back days. He's beaten him in one match and taken him to a last leg decider in another. Had a loss there in the last 64, but Leek getting to a last 16 of a Pro Tour. I think it's fair to say for the first time. I think that should be as far as he's gone. I don't remember him going much further.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. So, some better signs for
that's great.
From the Players Championship side of things for the Aussies.
We've accumulated maybe close to 8K in prize money across those games.
I don't know exactly. Just it's probably a little less.
Not yet.
Not yet. I don't think so.
It'll happen sometime. It'll happen.
It'll be interesting.
6-0 against Bradley Brooks. Yeah, wow, very impressive.
Yeah, so that's
very good.
That's very good. Brooks only averaging 72 there. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very under par from him.
Yeah, exactly.
What we usually see.
What else did I want to mention off the back of the Players Championship events? Bunting played well. I think he's in form for Slovakia this week. Bo Greaves did well to get to that semi-final, but she ran into Richie Edhouse averaging 105, 106 or whatever it was in the first round last night, which was like, where was this Richie for the last 18 months? Where's this version of Edhouse been? So, and obviously the Aussies doing well. So that was the sort of things that sort of came to mind for me from keep an eye on the Pro Tours over the last couple of days.
Oh,
a little bit. I mean, what was that previous one? A 94. So, I mean, he's made a quarterfinal here, so it's a bit all over the place. I think both Dutchmen really aren't. Sometimes their range is a bit more substantial than it has been in previous weeks.
True.
Or previous years
Match
for the both of them.
race.
So this is what it looks like on the Pro Tour Order Merit side of things. So I think Rob Cross is safe at the moment there. That gap really has opened up, and Biaczecki's not at that Euro Tour, which doesn't help his cause at all.
I reckon Damo's pretty close to being safe.
They're not far away. More games. I think I just want a few more just to be sure of it.
Yep. Yeah. He's on.
If Chizzy makes the match play, geez, how has that ended up happening? How has that ended up happening?
He's on the brink. Yeah, only 4K pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, so a big Euro Tour this weekend, the last. So we've got this European Tour coming up, and then two more Pro Tours before the cutoff.
Okay.
Before the World Match Play. So
interesting.
Anyone who's not on that board, like Bo Greaves, pretty much, I think she has to win back-to-back Pro Tours to make sure of it. I think.
It can happen.
Yes.
Yep.
There's a lot of names, notable names that aren't there. People like Mike Tedesco is the one number 20. He's not there.
Yep.
So great changes happening in the world of darts. That's what it looks like at the moment on the match play race on the Pro Tour Order Merit side. Luke Woodhouse comfortably in front up there. Clearly, obviously, going to be the biggest danger for all of those seeds in that first round. There's some levels to those players. I'm not sure we're going to see a ton of upsets in that first round of the World Match Play, but we might yet see a few more competitive matches. Reminder, the ANZ Premier League, I just had to throw it in this year. The tickets are on sale, of course.
Yes, get your tickets.
We're
All of us are going. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Booked tickets as soon as it came out on the, what was it, the Monday? Yeah, the Monday.
Monday. So
Yeah.
October the 10th in Melbourne.
Got Jane coming as well, so that'll be good. Nah, absolutely not.
No,
Good fun.
We're gonna look forward to this, and
Absolutely
we'll
we are.
obviously keep an eye on qualification for it.
Yes.
ADA next week. I kept thinking it was this week for
No.
whatever reason. For like the last month, I've been thinking this weekend is Melton.
That's right.
It's next weekend. So
Yeah. There's a Trans-Tasman series as well. That's in August, I believe.
yeah, end of
Yep.
August at in Queensland.
Which
So
is
that gets
just
a World
crazy.
Championship spot
Yeah.
and a Premier League spot.
Because if like a Raymond Smith wins that, then it's the next in the order of merit, then qualifies for that.
Or
So
if it's someone
interesting.
further down who
Or
wins
that.
it, they get a
Yeah.
freebie there, both into the Worlds and the Premier League. So that's going to be an interesting tournament on that.
It's
I
very
think it'll be
interesting.
Sunday. I think they're holding a few different things. There'll be an Australia New Zealand like team event. I think like the day before, but the main event will be that last day when it's I believe a
Correct.
32 player. I think it's set play as well.
Top 16 of ADA and New
the
Zealand.
DPNZ,
yep.
to come through to get yourselves a Premier League spot
Yes,
and
indeed.
a World Championship spot. And when you've got a World Championship spot, you want some stage experience, and they'll get that
is
at Canberra, Adelaide, Melbourne, Auckland, Newcastle, and Brisbane once again to wrap it up.
No Perth,
Perth.
no Hobart.
Still,
What else?
Still, I'm still a little bit surprised Canberra was in there. Not only they're staying there,
Yeah.
but they're opening up. Perhaps they couldn't get anything else going for this
Maybe.
year.
Still can't believe that they put Cairns in front of Melbourne last year for that brief moment. Oh my God, mate, we lost our crap, didn't we?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and then as I said off the top, yeah, there was a sanity check. It wasn't there for Josh
It
when
was.
when it happened.
And we'll
Uh,
flip in, eh?
Yeah. Speaking
Lineup
of Australia, New
for-
Zealand, we have the
yes,
lineup for the World Series events, and you'll notice some big names not there.
Yes.
No Lukes
No
and no
Lukes.
MVG. They
Yep.
can't be stuffed to come down here. But you know
Travel,
what? Stephen
really.
Bunting doesn't disrespect his fans
No,
like that. He's
no.
always there. Yeah, exactly. Van Veen, Clayton, Wade, Rock, Price, Bunting, Heta, Ross Smith as
Very
well.
happy that he's in. Very happy that he's in. I think he's a good addition. I think he'll do pretty well.
Who would start favourite there?
Probably Clayton.
Yep.
Or Gezi. This will be off the back of the match play as well, so it kind of
Yeah,
depends
it
who
will
does
be.
well there.
Yeah.
But at the moment, if it was to be held tomorrow with these guys and the best players from Australia, New Zealand, I'd probably lean towards Clayton of anybody of those. But it'll be interesting to see some different names.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, he had some big checkouts in that tournament.
Obviously,
in the
primarily
very
disappointing. But
Johnny
again,
Clayton
first
ways.
experience, we had the chat about should he have been in it a year too early.
Oh yeah, Rock.
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he'll be there.
look
So
forward to seeing how he
our guys will be there. It'll be interesting. I don't know whether with all these things, sometimes it's players they say no, or on their holidays they can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ross Smith's a great addition,
with
but I
family,
really would have
yeah.
been interested to see if Vessel Nijman, I would want to know if they asked Vessel Nijman, given he's on this trajectory, he may be in the Premier League in a couple of years' time.
Really
he
could
needs
be.
some wins on the televised stage. I think he would have been one that would have been really good to put in here as kind of. They sort of did that with Stephen Bunting after he won the Masters. He got an invite to a couple of World Series events, and that was kind of a prelude to him being invited into the Premier League. So that might have been something I might have. Maybe they asked Nijman and he said no, so that ended up being a mute point anyway. But I definitely would have asked Nijman ahead of Ross Smith, and so
on current
would've-
form.
yeah, on current
100%.
form, I would have been
Yeah.
interested to see if he was
Ross Smith
available to
did
that.
win a PC event last week.
Yes,
So
yes.
he's in some decent form as well.
It's not like he's not a bad dart player. Ross
No, he's
Smith, he's
good.
very good. He's a top
Massive
16 at the moment.
180
so,
hitter, as we know.
Yes. So he'll be an interesting addition.
Look forward to seeing him.
So we'll see some slightly different matchups than we've
we will.
seen for previous weeks with
That's good.
the guys of Wade and Smith and Heta there, non-Premier League players, joining these other five as well.
Of course.
Yeah,
good.
so we'll see Whitlock there. You'd imagine Leek would be there as a talk out holder as well. And we'll see some of the best guys from this part of the world. Someone
Yes.
who maybe one day we'll see in these sort of events as a talk out holder is Derek
I
Coulson.
hope so. yes.
112.95 in the final. He is so good. It's ridiculous.
It is crazy. So he won, I think, his 5th weekly title or whatever it is. So he won 4-1 against Oliver Mitchell there. Crazy stuff. Like, he was so
I'm just gonna head
close
out
to
of this because
qualifying.
I want to. Oh, I've got this open. Good. I wanted
go
to
for
go
it.
secondary tour and
Yeah, good
challenge
idea,
tour
actually.
just to remind ourselves of
was
where
so close
Derek
to
Coulson
qualifying.
sits. Tour card race. He is in that top
Second.
2 with Joe Hunt, and he's also in the slot for a
Tour
World
card.
Championship. Let me just go back to the Players Championship. He was in here for a while. He's outside. He's
83.
comfortably outside 83
Yeah.
on the Pro Players Championship Order of Merit. I don't know if he was he. Did he do any Pro Tours? Probably not.
Don't think
Most
so.
recently, but that'd be amazing if he got to a Players Championship
can you
finals. But Derek Coulson, best player without a tour card right now. I think he's
Yes.
firmly got that mantle ahead of even guys like Laurie and Andres Harrison, who's had a disappointing start to his year, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I think Derek Coulson's firmly got the best player who isn't a tour card holder at the
80% of
moment.
the doubles. It's just ludicrous. I can't believe he missed out on that tour card at Q School. He was so close.
I don't think he'll need to go to Q-School this year, Josh. I'm
No,
confident he's
no.
going to stay in that top Challenge Tour
I agree.
positions, and he might
There's the
pick up
weekly winners
a
list. Yeah.
he might pick up a Motor Super Series Champions title as well.
Due. Michael
before
Huntley,
it.
Neil Duff, Henry Coates, Archie Self, Ashley Coleman, David Evans. Now you can add DC to that list.
Alrighty.
Haven't got the week of this week, just been too busy. But Dance Down Under is back. Shane also plays in this, so it's a it's a revised sort of league. So it's
Okay.
only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, only 12 players. So what is it? Is it 10 weeks, 11 weeks? I'm pretty sure. 11 weeks. Yeah. So shorter to what was like 17, 18 last time. It dragged on a lot, and there was no qualifying and elimination. So
From 3 divs to 7, I think.
yeah. So
Big expansion.
lots of players are wanting to be here, which is great. And I had a 6-0 whitewash victory over Brad King. I played pretty well in this game, got to say. Not too bad. Yeah, I'll take that.
6 on the leg difference.
Yeah, was on a maximum twice actually in those 140s, so didn't get that. But
Could have cleaned up those doubles a little bit.
doubling
nice.
needs some work, I'm just going to say.
You're on a 17 helps a bit.
Yeah, it
That
does
does
help. It felt more than a 6-0 win, for sure.
I should have put in a little image here but it is the Slovak Darts Open on the European Tour this week in Bratislava, Slovakia. So looking forward to that. Stephen Bunting will be there. He's the number 7 seed. He's one I'm fascinated in to see how he goes this week, in particular, off the back of some strong
Oh, here we go.
Pro Tour forms over the week. Sorry? I don't think either Luke is there. Littler definitely isn't. I don't think Humphries was able to quite make it over as well. So there are some
Found
big
something.
names.
Here we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Hey.
So I imagine all of these guys will be here
There you go.
for the Slovak Darts Open.
It never happened.
Round from the World Cup.
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah. There's
It's a stacked calendar.
There's no time to rest, fellas. It's straight
No.
into the next tournament. No off season pretty much for the top boys. So to Bratislava they go for, and someone's going to make a bit of history. Me, the first person to win a Slovak Darts Open. So
Yeah. Will it be? Who
will it be one of these guys or somebody else? Will be a proper rogue winner. We'll
Yep.
see when the Euro Tour heads to Slovakia. You have a Darts archive on the next
do.
slide. Is
I
that
do,
what this
absolutely.
is? Where are we going this
Yes,
week?
2021.
we're going to more
Netherlands
World
versus
Cup for darts.
Singapore. Paul Lim is in there, of course. You can't not have Paul Lim in there. So a time of when it was singles and doubles format, if need be, at the end. This is 2 quality matches. MVG plays Paul Lim in the first one. He has a solid win. And a tense game between Dirk and Harry Lim. Will Dirk be too strong, or will it come down to a doubles format to decide it?
That's quite the image there of Michael Van going leaning over
I know.
Paul Lim. 2 very different types of players.
Yes,
There
indeed.
with the big roar and of Michael Van Gogh, and then the very I'm just going to go up there and throw darts and
Yes.
not worry about what anyone else is saying.
So give that a watch.
Paul Lim. That's this week's Darts Archive. We'll talk about it next week.
Sure will.
This episode will be made available as an audio only as soon as I can make that available. And we're up on the socials as well.
course.
And my Another Warning Line Still Wrong documentary
Yes.
comes out on YouTube on Saturday. Episode 1 at least
Gotta
does.
watch.
So that concludes the 9 Dart Podcast, episode number 64. Thank you so much, Shane,
Thank
for
you, Shane.
taking the time to come in
Some
and
very good insights. It was good. I
and
enjoyed that.
give us some different opinions and some good talking points as well.
Absolutely.
Always
did.
good to speak to you, Josh, as always.
Yes, pleasure. Likewise.
Thanks to everyone at home again for letting us in. And we'll be back next week. US Darts Masters coming up next week as well. And the ADA heads to Melton for an interesting weekend. And now everybody knows for certain what the qualification criteria is for the ANZ Premier League. So we're focusing on the guys that are up that top end to see if there's any big shifts in that order of merit as well with that race to the Premier League.
Are you going? Not sure.
I don't know.
I'm 50-50 at the moment. in terms of I can sort out
proper
work and everything.
50-50. If anything, it's going to be a Saturday.
Same 50-50? Yeah.
I'd love
Find
to
out.
go. I'm less and less confident as the
Yeah.
week's gone on. The fact that
We'll see how we
it's
go.
next week probably helps me a little bit more
Yeah.
instead of this week. But I'm not sure. Hopefully I'll have a definitive answer for you next
Yeah.
week.
Well, I had work. I got it off. Now I have to decide between Carlton West Coast or this. So we'll find out. With our form, who knows? But Josh Fraser's the man, guys. Give him $2 million like Naz. Come on.
All right, so we'll go back to darts to wrap it up.
Will. Good fun.
Slovak Darts
Good
Open. We'll focus this week. Hopefully, we won't have any. We'll have a European tour where they won't need to go off stage because of a false alarm. That'd be great. And we will discuss all that next week. Thanks so much again, Shane. You're welcome back anytime.
Amen.
This has been the 9 Dart Podcast.